guys, thanks for watching that video. I am here with my friend Jesse, my travel friend who went with me on all these European travels. And first and foremost, definitely like and subscribe to WanderLost Ventures. And I do want to give some tips and some comments. We both traveled throughout Europe together, and we just have some things to say that might help you on your next trip to the places that we went to. So,
hey guys, and I just wanted to, real quick before you start this, right below or over here you can see my house I'm trying to sell right now for $1.5 million, and it's got beachfront access, beautiful place. Contact me if you're interested.
We're actually doing this at a special place, by the way. So we're in Oahu, in Hawaii. We're on a beach right now. We're in like the north shore of the island, and so decided to mix it up a little bit, but I hope you guys enjoy our little view. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. So, okay, so first in this video, we did go to I apologize for butchering any of these names. Jesse's perfect in his German accent, and so he's gonna mention a lot of these, but I'll list them in the titles. So the first place we went to was the
castle?
Yeah.
Neuschwanstein
Castle, which is a huge popular tourist attraction there in Germany. I mean, we went there, and there were just tons of tour buses. It was incredible, the amount of people there, but it's also a really major attraction being in Bavaria and being a castle that actually inspired, I think, Sleeping Beauty's castle in Disneyland. And so it is awe-inspiring no matter what time of the year. We went in July, the weather was beautiful. But if I can give one tip, definitely come early. And if you plan to do a tour, try to book that in advance. I'll talk about the tours in my next item, but definitely come early because there's just a lot of tourists. Do you remember anything else, Jesse?
I would say like also too, like it's a little bit of hiking like up to actually get to the castle part. So I would definitely bring like some good shoes with you. Not that you're gonna be like trudging through the mud or anything like that, but just be prepared for a little bit of a walk. So if you have anybody in the party you think that might not be able to handle that, they also did have like the horse carriages there too, so you could definitely take those up there if you wanted to. And then also I did notice, I don't know if you noticed this, but they had like no drone signs. So
Jesse had
yeah,
Jesse brought his drone.
With me.
Yeah.
I've seen though, like some people have actually put like drone videos of the castle. So I think what that means is you just have to find a spot where nobody's gonna catch you, and then fly your drone, and then get the video.
Well, so okay, well this is completely outside of outside of my tips for you, but we went outside of the castle area and like into the countryside, and I think Jesse got his drone up, and I've never actually seen your footage, but I'm sure it looks amazing.
It is.
Yeah. So the first tip is really just come prepared. There is some walking involved, but there is alternatives for you if you're unable to make the walk, because from the visitor center where you do get your tickets, you do have to go up a mountain to actually get to the base of the castle itself. My next thing is kind of do a little bit more research in terms of what you wanted to do, and also kind of picky tails on the first item of being prepared, because there's more than one castle. It's a very historical site. So Jesse, there's another castle. Can you pronounce that?
Hohenschwangau.
So there's a bunch of castles in and around this area, and so we went late. We got there at around probably noontime. And so the next actual tour to go into Neuschwanstein Castle didn't happen until 4:30. So all we did was really just walk around the exterior. We did some hiking in around the nearby mountains. Not that your experience can't be just as good if you can't see the interior, but you know, by going inside you can't take any cameras, you can't take any photos. It is beautiful inside from the photos that I have seen, but definitely come early, come prepared, and do a little bit of research in terms of what type of tour you want to do.
I thought it was kind of cool too, like they have this like walkway bridge that you go across, and it's all over like this waterfall, which is, I thought was really beautiful. And then you get up to like this vantage point of like the castle, which is great for pictures. And also like on your way hiking up to the top, you can actually see that castle that you mentioned off in the distance too.
Yeah.
The other one.
Yeah.
Hohenschwangau, I'm guessing. But I thought that castle was really beautiful too, just to see off in the distance. And then it's like in the backdrop they have like a lake too.
Yeah.
And I think it was on either side actually.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like a fairy tale almost to like see that kind of like picture in your mind.
I've always wanted to go here for a really long time, and I don't think I was just very much impressed. I feel like if you read the story of King Ludwig and the history of this castle, it's just very interesting. And when you put the surrounding area, you can just see it. It's just a towering structure in the middle of a very flat area. So it's definitely very prominent in this specific area and very beautiful.
It's really just kind of like something out of a storybook, I think.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And we went during the summertime. I did read that during the winter time, when it does get colder, they do limit access to this bridge. So if you can, I'm sure wintertime is beautiful to see the snow covered around this area, but during summertime, you have access to everything. So definitely be cautious of what time of the year you decide to go here. The next thing I want to talk about is paragliding. So I don't know if you remember, Jesse, but when we were walking around the castle, there were these paragliders that were just going up and above us, and it was amazing. I can't even imagine what kind of view they must have seen of this castle and the surrounding area. So if you like paragliding and if you want to go, do some research beforehand and make sure that you bring the money and also make your reservations to go. Although there are tour companies that provide tours to get to this area because it's a very popular site, we actually drove. We rented a car, and I recommend driving just because you can control your own destiny. You can stop wherever you want to. There's a town by the name of Füssen, which is a nearby town, and it was beautiful. It had a lot of typical Bavarian architecture. If you remember, like the windows, the balconies, it's just like the shutters. It just felt like out of a fairy tale for sure. And we only spent a few hours just overall in this area before we went back to Austria. But you could definitely spend the whole day there, spend a lot more time there and explore. It's a very beautiful city.
Yeah, and I think like what kind of struck me about the houses is that, like you said, like they have the window shutters.
Yeah.
And then like even like some of them, they had like little designs on them and on the building walls of the house.
Yeah.
And then everything's just like very well taken care of. And I feel like sometimes like here in America, like, you know, sometimes properties aren't taken care of so well.
Yeah.
But it seems like almost every house that we saw or came across was
Yeah.
just like immaculate almost for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just well, I think that goes in general like a testament of a lot of parts of Germany, just very well taken care of, and just a beautiful area nonetheless. Mm-hmm. So the next part of this video is when we went to another part of Germany called the Kehlsteinhaus, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, or what was the name?
Kehlsteinhaus?
So this is Hitler's his place that he built in the Alps as a kind of like a getaway where he would meet with his generals or to host private parties. So it's a really popular attraction. Let's just put that on the table. If you want to go there, we drove there. It's kind of an interesting trip to go there on your own too, just because it's on like a very high mountain area. But it's a beautiful place nonetheless, and I'll go into some details of what it's like. But I first heard about this through the World War II miniseries called Band of Brothers, and in Band of Brothers, the Americans are racing the French to get to the top of this structure on the mountain, and from the video, and I'll overlay some photos of the actual from the series. You know, like you go through. Like a smaller town on the bottom of the mountain, you see a lot of really deep Nazi sympathizers. So you see like these images of these Nazi flags as you get up to the top. And in the top, the Americans, they got there first, and they're like pillaging through like Hitler's photos and some of the silverware and wine. And so it was a pretty significant or pretty interesting part of Hitler and that era. And so that's how I first got to know about it, and I definitely wanted to go because I saw it there. Do you have any other things you want to talk about? What you remember from that place?
The trip up there kind of was not for the faint of heart, I guess I would say. So if you have any sort of like fear of heights, like you're going along the side of the mountain like the whole way up. So they built this tiny little road for only one car at a time. There's no like two-way, and like there's guardrail,
yeah.
And like most of I think was like still stone guardrail. It wasn't like modern metal. And so, you know, you look off the side and it's like dead drop off. So if this bus like, you know, takes a wrong turn or whatever, like you're gone.
Basically, this trip is not for the faint of heart. You actually drive to the visitor center, and from the visitor center, you make a reservation for the time that you want to go, because there's so many people coming here. It's a very popular attraction also because of the World War II significance. So you pick the time that you want to go as well as the time that you want to come back. So you kind of have to understand how long you want to stay up there. I think we did 2 hours, if I remember right. But you can stay up there longer, but it's a pretty set time to go back down. And so basically you drive, whether you go with a tour company or you drive on your own, you park at the visitor center, and then from the visitor center you take these buses, and the buses is from these buses, that's what takes you to the Kehlsteinhaus. And so, so you go up the side of the mountain, and it's definitely what Jesse was saying, it's not for the faint of heart. I was sitting behind a girl, and she was like shivering, and she was holding her boyfriend because she was so scared to look off the side. I thought it was beautiful. I mean, it's like you just see these the beautiful Alps. The mountains are beautiful, but it's definitely a trip to get up there.
It was like a long trip up there too, like probably like
it was
20-30 minutes plus probably.
It was.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a lot to it because you get to the top, and then from the top you walk through a long tunnel. From the tunnel you take an elevator up to the actual top. And from the top, what you see is the Kehlsteinhaus, the house which is now the house which is now, or the structure that was built for Hitler is now a restaurant. There were some boards. There's an ability to understand the history of its significance and kind of what it was before the war, its construction, as well as after the war. It was a restaurant which we did eat there, and I'll talk about in our next in my next item. And I think you can walk even higher and go to, we actually didn't do it because it was super foggy. We could barely see anything that day, and it was really cold. So definitely come prepared. But you can go a bit higher, walk higher up the mountain, and get probably like a bird's eye view of the complex and the surrounding mountains. So the last thing I want to talk about is the restaurant. And so the restaurant, I guess I didn't know that there was a restaurant up there. I didn't know. I guess I didn't really know what to expect. I know that they do offer tours. We didn't do one, but when we went up there, the food was very good. It was very typical, German food up there. I'm sure on a nice clear day, the views would just be amazing. It would have been a really good place to just like have a beer and have something to eat. But that's all I really remember from this place.
I think like when I was there, like when you get to the top and then the bus parks.
Yeah.
So then you have like you mentioned that long tunnel that goes through towards the elevator, and for me it was a little bit ominous, I guess. And then I think maybe just thinking of like the history with like Hitler being there and everything. I guess maybe that's kind of what I was associating with. But also too, it's like kind of a dark tunnel with like very dim lighting.
Yeah.
And then you get to this elevator.
I'm sorry guys, there are skydivers coming up right now, so don't mind the back noise.
But so you get to like the end of this tunnel, and then there's this elevator that you enter, and that's what takes you up to the top. And there's one guy working there that takes you in the elevator, and then I didn't even notice at first, but there's like all these signs that say don't take pictures.
Yeah.
Which I'm not really sure why that was, if it's just a respect thing, I guess. I'm not sure. But yeah, that was kind of a little bit ominous, I guess, I thought. And then you get to the top and then kind of walk around like you said. And then the thing that kind of struck me too was that a lot of like the Nazi symbolism has been removed, like any propaganda or whatever, which, in hindsight now thinking about it, I think it's kind of the right decision. Yeah. Because you don't want, like they say it's there too, you don't want people coming back to like worship the Nazis or idolize them or whatever that they might do. Yeah. So I think it was a really cool experience. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but not necessarily in a bad way. It was just kind of a really different thing that we did, I think. Yeah. And we're big World War II fans, so a lot of what we like to go to is like really related to a lot of things, and so a lot of things related to the war. It was ominous just because Hitler was physically there, and there's a lot of history there. So I felt it, and maybe you'll have the same feeling, especially if you follow the war and are interested in these types of things. The last thing I want to talk about is the last part of this video, which focuses on Munich. And so first thing is big shout out to a couch surfer that we met, a local person that we met, Dominic.
You just definitely made our experience there just amazing. We met him through a site called Couchsurfing. We stayed at his house. It's not too far from the main parts of the city. He brought us to a local restaurant. We introduced us to beer, and I forgot what we ate. We had
Spätzle.
Spätzle.
I think it was, yeah.
Spätzle and beer, and it was cool because we just walked through. He lived close to where Oktoberfest was held, and we were there in July, and they were setting it up. And so it was kind of cool to see that happen, to such a worldwide or such a popular event that everyone knows around the world, and it's just a huge complex to see it being set up. It was really cool. There were some salsa dancers in this vantage point that we got, and so I think it was just really cool to just be with someone who's from there and to kind of get a tour from his perspective, from his everyday perspective that we may not get. And we just hung out in his balcony and talked story, and it was just it was a really cool way that I definitely remember Munich from.
Mm-hmm. The beer garden too, right?
The next part I want to talk about is the beer garden. So I've never been to one before, and I've always kind of imagined what they were, kind of based off of what I see of images of Oktoberfest. But this one, we went to, I want to say, the English Garden. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, because we pretty much just walked around Munich and just kind of, we were pretty exhausted at this point in time, but we stumbled upon this beautiful, beautiful large park to see the beer garden. There was a lot of architecture, a lot of German food, beer, tables everywhere. It was sprawled out. I thought it was really cool because it was something that looked like it was just like normal everyday life. People that were just taking a break from work or coming there after work to be with their friends and family. It wasn't anything of like huge, nothing massive or nothing
like super touristy.
Yeah, it just felt like something normal, and so I thought that was really cool just to experience that and just to be outside with, I guess, with friends and coworkers was really cool.
And I think like the mug of beer that I got was like massive. It took me a long time to like down that thing.
I'm gonna overlay some photos. I mean, these are huge portions over here.
And then the sausage I got too is like huge.
Yeah. Definitely fills you up over here. So great food, great beer, definitely overall great experience. The last thing I want to talk about, and I apologize, we didn't do too many things in Munich, is the architecture. Being in Bavaria, Munich is very significant in terms of the architecture of the area. We just pretty much walked around the city. I don't think there was any structure that was anything greater than, 5-6 stories. So it definitely felt that you can embrace and get to know the city, unlike like Frankfurt, which has like skyscrapers and a huge, significant skyline. Munich is a very walkable, very explorable city. And I definitely enjoyed it. I wish I could explore more though.
Yep.
So that's pretty much all I had. Some major key points of the areas that we saw in Germany. So I definitely hope that you guys check it out. Meet some local people wherever you go. And definitely, I love Germany. I felt like I learned a lot, and it's cool to see a lot of things that we've heard about and read about through history, through World War II. It's great to actually see it in person. So
I love Deutschland too.
Well, thanks guys. I hope you had a good time, and I hope you have a great trip on your way there. Definitely like and subscribe, and continue to follow me as I try to give you good quality videos of my trip and my travels. So take care, guys. Bye, and take care. Live with aloha.